Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch build guide video. This one is for the Paladin. So this is my leveling build guide for Bleed Hammers in Season 2. The gameplay that you are watching right now was taken at 355 Corruption, and this is a level 91 Bleed Hammerden. This is gameplay from the current cycle 1.1. I am not a CT tester, and this is not CT. I have no way of showing you gameplay from Season 2. Even though I know it's just a couple days away, I wanted to get this guide out ahead of Season 2 so you guys have time to take a look at the planners. I put out a guide like this a couple weeks ago. You guys really liked it. I wanted to re-release this guide again with new planners updated for Season 2 now that we have patch notes and Last Epoch Tools is updated. So as you can see in the guide, we are using an unspec'd shield rush. That is unspec'd. We are proccing smite with our hammers via some smite idols. It will all be in the planners. And as you can see, we're just running right through these monos, just tagging enemies with the hammers, and it's inflicting bleed. We're using abyssal echoes for the tougher enemies to be able to take them down and chunk them out a little bit faster. And yeah, the build feels pretty good. The thing is, the damage is kind of low, and the reason why is I'm not using what makes Sentinel so good in Cycle 1.1, Volatile Reversal. So I'm not using Volatile Reversal right now because Volatile Reversal is being changed in Season 2. And in Season 2, the damage of Sentinel is being raised across the board. So this is kind of a, oh, all right, that damage looks okay. But in Season 2, it's going to be looking way better because I'm not going to, have to rely on Volatile Reversal. I can just use Abyssal Echoes the way it is right now, which I'm using, which lifts the damage up a little bit. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, I'm having a great time with this build. I've loved it. I've done two solo character found runs with it, where I started as a level 1, excuse me, in solo character found, so that means no shared stash, and took it all the way into empowered monoliths. This was the first character that I did it with, and having a great time with it. If you're interested in the planner of this particular character, just to see the gear that this character has, it'll be in the description down below. And yeah, I'm just having a great time with it. This was a good setup. So let me tell you what we got planned. I'm going to show you how the build works here at level 91. I will go through the planners. I will have a link to a playlist in the description down below of the live streams when I level this character. I understand it's a lot of live stream to get through. The number one thing that you guys might be interested in is that first live stream, because I took that character from level 1 all the way to monoliths. That's probably where you might want to kind of click around and see what's going on and kind of look for some tips if you need some help. Now that's all Cycle 1.1 gameplay, but it should still be relevant for Season 2. With all that being said, oh, by the way, there is a loot filter in the description down below, as well as a guide to the way I do my loot filters if you have any questions. Everything is labeled pretty well in there. But with all that being said, let's go ahead, jump into the game. I will showcase the ability set and we will go from there. Let's go. All right, here we are in game. All right, so I wanted to show you my skills right now. This is how I currently have it set up. It'll be in the planner for this particular character. Like I said, this is all getting changed, at least a decent amount of it, in Season 2. But the basics of the move sets will stay the same. So real quick, since this is a beginner's guide, I wanted to show you. You might be wondering, smite. Right? I have smite, but it's not on my bar. There's shield rush on my bar, but I'm not spec'd into it. So you can use shield rush without being specialized into it. It's going to be kind of basic, right? So we're going to be spending the full mana cost, 50 mana cost, right? At this point in the game, it's fine. What I typically do with these leveling builds, if I'm using a shield, I will spec into shield rush and then take rush mastery. All right, with Rush Mastery, it'll reduce the mana cost, and it's very helpful when you're going on, when you're leveling through the game. And then later on, you respec, you drop it for something like Smite or Abyssal Echoes or Symbols of Hope, depending on what you need at that point. When you're able to support it without the mana cost reduction. Okay, so we're going to start hitting this guy. So you'll see we got a bunch of hammers going out and about. They're all nice big circle right there. We're inflicting, every time a hammer hits the enemy, it leaves behind a stack of bleed, right? We're leaving behind a stack of bleed. We're also leaving behind some ignite and a little bit of poison. That's coming from the idols. All right, and then what we're going to do, we're going to hit the enemy, build up some stacks, and then we're going to use Abyssal Echoes. That's going to deal some damage. It's going to consume all the stacks of bleed, and then we're going to start building up the stacks again. And then for 5 seconds, we're going to be able to deal increased damage just for 5 seconds. So my tips and tricks here for this, for most enemies, you're not going to need to stand in one place this long. But my tip is build up like, 400 or 500 stacks, whatever you can do. Whatever you can do, and then boom, just do that. Now for my level 100 character with good gear and everything, I'm able to hit 999 stacks pretty easily with that character, and then I can consume all that at once with Abyssal Echoes. And so that's what you're going to be shooting for. This character's not there all the way. He's level 91, but I mean someday. Well, this honestly, I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. This guy's probably going to get deleted because Season 2 is going to be here, and I just have no reason to play him anymore. But, so Dresden, we salute you. So I wanted to give you guys a couple quick tips and wanted to showcase what it looks like. One thing you might notice right now in cycle 1.1, Sigils of Hope, you have to manually cast it. In Season 2, you'll have to put this on your bar, but it will auto cast for you. That's going to be a very nice quality of life. So if you see any gameplay and you see me casting this from this cycle, just know in Season 2, it'll cast it for you because it's being changed. I want to make sure I cover everything. We also got Holy Aura. You can activate Holy Aura for a little bit, and it'll double all the stats it gives you. So let's kind of go over this real quick. Holy Aura is really great. Well, hold on. So, Holy Aura is really great for passive bonuses like a chance to proc haste, attack speed, some extra damage, resistances and endurance, boons, poison resistance. And what you can do when you activate it, right, it doubles all the bonuses for 4 seconds, and then it's on cooldown. The cool thing is cooldown starts immediately. In order to get the benefits of Holy Aura, it has to be on your bar. Okay, so that was a demonstration of the skills, a few quick tips and tricks. I can speak English. Let's go ahead. We're going to jump into the planners. Like I said, if you need a loot filter, I guess I can go over that here for a quick moment. Here is the loot filter. Everything has got its own rules. If you don't need it at that moment in time, go ahead, check it. But I released a pretty generic just loot filter guide on how I do all my loot filters. But just know that whatever you need, you can just click next to the rule, and there you go. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the planners, and I'll show you guys the playlist with some of that gameplay. All right, here we are in the planners. This is lastepochtools.com. They got to make their money, so we got ads. It's fine. I understand. I just like to point it out every time we're about to do something. So we have multiple planners here for you today. I'm going to go through them one by one and try and give you a brief summary. So here we are. This is level 1 through 20 planner. So by the time you hit level 20, you're going to be aiming for something like this. All right, so let's talk about the gear. You'll notice on here I only have like 1 or 2 affixes. on the gear. And the reason why is because you don't know what you're going to have. You're still trying to find shards. You're still trying to get stuff. You don't know what you're going to have. So the only affixes on the gear are the ones I think that you should try and get. Nothing set in stone. What you're trying to do is just put whatever into those slots. The last thing you want is empty spots anywhere, right? Even if it's a gray item, no affixes, you still want something there. So that's what I put here. And some of these are fine. Like I said, these are just affixes I think would be nice to have in this in these slots, so that's why I put them there. So let's go through it. On your helmet, strength and health. Strength's a great dump stat while you're leveling, so if you could put strength on there, go for it. And health is also a good one, but like I said, you're going to put whatever you can find, right? You're going to wear whatever. We got the worn plate. It doesn't really matter. Physical resistance. Physical resistance is the most important stat resistance, in my opinion, when you are leveling. When you are leveling through the campaign, you're going to want physical resistance. When you get to monoliths, you're going to want to start trying to, get your resistances in a nice spot. But for the most part, when you're leveling, get yourself some physical resistances. If you can, get yourself a rusted cleaver, one-handed axe, but for that matter, it could be any one-handed axe. Try and get yourself a one-handed axe. The reason why I'm recommending rusted cleaver is chance to bleed on hit. And then the affixes you'd want on there is chance to apply bleed on hit and chance to apply ignite on hit. So what we do when we're leveling is we use ignite to help out the bleed until we get to a spot where our bleed is good, and then we can start moving away from the ignite. But ignite's a good thing to have. Avarice, you get this from, this is a side quest, right? So if you're doing all the side quests, you'll be getting this. It's in like the second zone. It's like in Act 2. There's an old guy, an old hermit guy. You talk to him. He'll tell you to go pick up his book. You go pick up the book. You come back. Talk to the old guy, not the gambler guy. Talk to the old guy, and he'll hook you up with these pair of gloves. This right here is going to help us sustain through the campaign. The elemental damage leached his health. The bleed doesn't count as elemental damage, but the ignite does. That's why we have ignite on gear until we can get something like a bleeding heart over here. Jade amulets, these drop pretty early, level 4 requirement. You're going to look for a chance to apply ignite on hit. I think is the main one you want if you can get it for LT, but don't worry about it. Just a shield, any shield. I have a heater shield here, but whatever. Belt, same thing. Health if you can swing it. Boots, the number one affix you want is movement speed. You don't want to be lagging behind. And then I mean, if you can get a sunrise emblem relic, that's fine. Chance to apply ignite. And then for the range, you really want to try and get these affixes, the throwing attack speed and the minus mana cost for throwing damage. The thing is, I ran the campaign twice. I'm going to be going a third time, one last time, just to brush up before Season 2 launches. And the first time I ran it, I found nothing but minus mana cost for throwing skills. And then the second time I ran it, I found nothing but throwing attack speed. So hopefully you're luckier than me, and you can get both. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the passive tree. So one thing right here, Last Epoch Tools allows us to do is a little slider bar. You're going to use the slider bar to follow your way through. All right, this is as if you were a level 20 character, so it's only has 20 points. If you have more points than this and you're not level 20 yet, that means you've probably been doing the side quest. You can go to the next planner. Check that one out, see what you can get. So right here we got, you're just going to want to take some points in Juggernaut, Armor Clad, Valiant Charge, a cooldown for your movement skills. And then Fearless and Stalwart are your last two pickups. But like I said, just, follow the bar. Follow the bar. Okay, that is planner number 1. Let's jump into the second planner. All right, one moment. I know I just said we're about to go to the second planner, but your boy Bike over here has been talking too fast for his own good. Let's go over the skills, all right? So here is Hammer Throw, all right? So we're going to want to take 2 points in rapid. So follow the bar, all right? Follow the bar first of all. You're going to want to take 2 points in Rapid Throw, 1 point in Guardian Zeal, and 3 points in Rye's Legacy. What this is going to do for you, it's going to give you a stack of Zeal. Zeal is a buff that you can get from Hammer Throw, and you can have up to 3 stacks of Zeal. So per stack of Zeal, you can have a global ignite chance of 30%. So you do the math. That's 90% ignite chance to have this early in the game. That's pretty good. All right, that's pretty good. That's why I like to do Ignite and then add Bleed as I'm going along. It's a lot easier to stack Ignite as you're going through the campaign. Eventually, you're going to respec Hammer Throw. At whatever point you respec that, that'll be up to you. The latest would be like level 76. By that point, you'll have enough. Between level 76 and level 80. By that point, you'll have enough Bleed to be able to, move away from Ignite. But it's a great way to get going. We look at Shield Rush. You're going to spec into this at level 10. So what happens is you're going to be leveling. You're going to hit level 4. You're going to get, I think you're going to hit level 2 or level 3, and you're going to get Hammer Throw. Then at level 4, you can specialize in your first skill. Specialize in the Hammer Throw. When you get to level 10, at level 8, you'll be able to specialize into a second skill. I say wait until you have Shield Rush unlocked, which is at level 10, and then spec into Shield Rush. What you're going to be put in Shield Rush is just the mana. I mentioned this in the tips and tricks section. Just take all the mana, make it cheap. That way you can just run through and kind of, go wherever you want to go. And then Javelin, you don't unlock until level 18. You get the ability to specialize into a third skill at level 20. I recommend going into Holy Trail. So what you're going to do, like I said, follow the bar. You're going to do point, 2 points, 1 point, 2 points. And what you're going to do is you're going to throw Javelin. It's going to leave behind a trail on the ground. And then you're going to just be proccing your hammers. This is supplemental damage. At some point, you will spec out a Javelin. At whatever point that is up to you. You can spec out of it as soon as you get to Monoliths. If you think your damage with Hammer Throw is good enough. Or at the... just like Shield Rush, at the very least, or not least, but at the end of it, level 70, between level 76 and 80, you're going to want to spec out of it into Smite, especially when you have idols to support it. Okay, that is this planner. Let's jump on into the next one. For real this time. All right, and here we are in the second planner. So around this point, you're going to be ready for Monoliths, assuming you don't want to play through the campaign all the way. If you want to play through the campaign all the way, by all means, go for it. Have fun. But if you want to go to Monoliths as soon as possible, what I recommend doing is in the middle of Chapter 7, you're going to fight this tree dude. And after you fight the tree dude, you'll talk to a character. The character will be like, that's great. And then you'll finish a quest. When you have finished that quest, you will have, by that point, assuming you've been turning in all your quests along the way, all your passive points and all your idle slots for your character. That is the main reason to be doing the campaign. A, you kind of have to do the campaign up to a certain point. But B, you're trying to do all these side quests to get all your passive points and idle slots. Once you have those, you can go straight to Monoliths. You go straight to Monoliths, and then what I normally do is I kind of farm in Monoliths until I find a Temporal Sanctum key, and then I go back, go through the Temporal Sanctum, fight Julra, and then skip through to the other side, or break on through, depending on how you want to go with it. But this is around that point, level 45, near the end of this planner, that you'll be getting ready to do that. So what should you have before going into Monoliths? Well, just like the other planner, we're going to be looking for stuff like Chance to Apply Frailty and Ignite on a Jade Amulet. These are fine. Spiked Helms are pretty good because you have physical resistance and then health. Like I said, you're still at this point going to be trying to just kind of fill the void with whatever you can get. So armor, physical resistance. Hopefully you can upgrade to a Battle Axe by this point. It gives you a higher chance to apply bleed on hit. And you'll be looking for bleed and ignite on your axe. Silverine, same thing. You're going to be looking for throwing attack speed, minus mana cost for throwing damage. Same thing over here. Maybe you can get some poison resistance. That'll be good going into Monoliths. If you can get a heretical script, this will do you a world of favors just for that increased armor. For the boots, you're still looking for movement speed. Avarice is probably still going to be your main source of elemental damage, is going to be your main source of sustain, but you're going to be also looking for a bleeding heart. If you can find a bleeding heart, even earlier, use that. Don't worry about this Jade Amulet. Use that bleeding heart. That's going to be your main thing that's going to keep you alive. Right, that is the gear. Same thing with the passives. Just follow the slider bar. Let me show you a couple nice things. Right, so we've hit level 20. We've left this alone. What we're going to do is come over here and take 5 points in Weapons Master before we even put points anywhere else. The reason why we're doing that is we gain a 75% chance to bleed with an axe. This is going to really help increase your bleed stacks. Very good. Before we go into Paladin, we're going to go put 5 points into Abyssal Endurance. This got buffed, right? Just a 5-point dip gives you void and physical damage taken minus 5%. This is really good. All right, one thing Sentinel didn't really have was just generic damage reduction. This is going to give us damage reduction. It's very good. And then we'll go into Paladin. Like I said, follow the bars. All right. And as for your idols, just put whatever will help you stay alive. All right. Put health, put resistances, put whatever you can find right here. And that's why I left this blank, right? You're just going to be going for that. Let's move on to the next planner. I did it again, didn't I? Okay. I got kind of ahead of myself. So here's a couple tips. Normally I would say just follow the bars and everything, but I wanted to give you a couple tips for hammer throw and for holy aura. So before we go to the next planner, my bad. All right, so here's the 6 points that we put in down here. When you're coming up here, here's what I recommend. All right, I recommend you do 1 point in winged hammers. Wait, don't put a point in steadfast path. The reason why is you're going to be throwing your hammers and they come back to you, right? Throw back, throw back. But if you put a point here in the steadfast path, you're just going to be throwing. That's going to be less time. That's going to be less opportunities for you to be applying. That's going to be less opportunities for you to be applying bleed and ignite stacks. But the moment you have 2 points, that'll be around 9 points. The moment you have 9 points, point into Iron Spiral. This is where you're going to get those nice spiral looking hammers that kind of go around. You don't want to take Hammer Vortex yet. All right. You don't want to take Hammer Vortex because it's just going to be too much mana. You're going to go into Spiral and then a point into Catapult, and then you're going to be putting points into Ballista. Once you have enough mana reduction cost, then take Hammer Vortex. Same thing for Shield Rush. You're going to want to take these 2 points. For Shield Rush, the main reason why I spec into it is to just take this mana reduction until you can get to a good point where you don't need, like, you have enough mana sustain. So I just kind of put points wherever, and you're free to do the same. Take these 2 nodes. They're the most important thing for Shield Rush. Same thing for Javelin. You're just trying to bulk up the damage of Javelin at this point. Holy Aura, the main important nodes, again, just follow the bar. The main important nodes, just keep yourself alive with resistances and the like. Okay, for real, let's move on to the next planner. All right, here we are in the next planner. This is made for a level 80 character. Around level 80, you're going to be at this point. Let's go ahead and talk about the skills. So in the next planner, starting in the next planner, the skills will be different. The reason why I left the skills the same is you still want to be keeping your skill, like, assuming you haven't respect around this point, you should be level 20 and everything. When you've done that, now would be the time to respect. If you've gotten to this point and you haven't respect, like I said, you gotta have to kind of feel it out yourself. But if you need a hard, somebody needs to tell you to respec, this is the time right here. You're going to be respecing out of Shield Rush because hopefully you have enough mana sustained by that point. And you're going to be specking out of Javelin because hopefully you have enough damage. What you're going to be specking into, let me see, can I look at all the skills? You're going to be specking into Smite and Symbols of Hope. All right. Smite, you're going to be proccing with these adorned idols. All right. You can put it on your bar if you want, but you're going to be looking for these adorned idols. And what these are going to do is cast Smite for you when an enemy is hit by a throwing attack. Hammer throw, if you didn't know, is a throwing attack. So you're going to be looking for these guys. You just need at least one. Ultimately, you're going to want two, but try and get yourself one. And especially when they're all going into a nice spiral, that's when you really are going to be wanting to have smite. So at whatever point you can go for that. I mean, if you want to use smite earlier, you can respec javelin earlier. I just feel like it feels better to me to be respecing between level 76 and 80. Just because you're level 20 and everything, and it's way faster to level your skills back up to 20 when they have already hit that max rank. Okay, but we've already kind of gone over these skills before. Like I said, just follow the slider bar. If during monos you feel like you have enough sustain and you want more damage and you don't want to be doing Raye's Legacy, you can respec hammer throw and put more points into rapid throw and weighted hammers. Now, what's going to be happening? I would put more points into weighted hammers, and then possibly force of impact. This is a new addition in season 2. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty good. All right, but I haven't tested it. So what I've done in cycle 1.1, if I'm not needing these nodes right here, is I put points of weighted hammers and then rapid throw. And then abyssal echoes. Actually, we're going to be making an on the spot change. So what you're going to be looking for in abyssal echoes, you're going to be looking for this node. Like I said, just be, following the slider bar. You're going to be looking for crumbling. Crumbling's very nice. And then, like I showcased in the intro, Sanguine Eruption. Abyssal Echo's initial burst consumes all stacks of bleed on the enemy. You're going to be saving this for the bosses, and you're going to be trying to build up those bleed stacks and then suck it all away. Build up those bleed stacks, suck it all away. I know. Build and suck. Build and suck. Okay, whatever. Moving on. This is going to help your damage, especially later on. I think this will be very good in Season 2 because of the buffs that Hammer Throw got that don't require volatile reversal. Okay, let's talk about your gear real quick. Hopefully, during this time, you found a battle axe, and then you can apply bleed on hit, chill on hit, physical damage over time, that sort of thing. Atrophy is a good pickup right here. You get this from the Black Sun timeline. If you're just leveling through and the boss doesn't drop it, because this setup is going to be what you're going to be going into Empowered Monoliths. So if you're just leveling through and you fight Raye in the Black Sun timeline and he doesn't drop it, don't farm him for it, all right? Just use whatever regular pair of gloves. I just put this here in case you're fighting Raye and he drops Atrophy. Then you would want to use it because the penetration against all resistances for damage over time is very nice. Blood of the Exile, if you can get these pair of boots, very nice. If not, just use whatever pair of boots you got with movement speed. But if you can get one of these, very nice. In my first leveling run, I found Bleeding Heart, Blood of the Exile, and Atrophy. In my second one, I found none of these. I didn't find these until after I got to Empowered Monoliths in my second run. So, yeah, there we go. Also, the Solaran plates are pretty nice because they give you endurance. You're going to be looking for strength and health. If you can get a Praetorian belt, it's pretty nice. A nice little hack. This affix right here, 100% chance to cleanse all ailments on potion use. Ailments are like poison, bleed, armor shred that are all on you. You drink a potion and you cleanse all of them. The thing is, you only need a tier 1 to cleanse all of it, all right? It doesn't need to be like tier 5 or whatever. So a nice little trick on your is to put this affix on your belt because it's the only place it can go, and then seal it at tier 1 using a Glyph of Despair. Nice little trick, might help you out. Mana regen and health, I would say, would be pretty big to go for. You can even go for double health if you can swing it. Praetorian belt is nice, but use whatever belt you can get. Ivory Rings are fine. I would say Ivory Rings are the ones you want to go for because of the necrotic resistance. Main thing you're going to be looking to do on both of your rings is to seal a tier 1 minus mana cost for throwing skills. The reason why the minus mana cost for throwing skills, it doesn't the actual minus mana cost doesn't go up with tier until tier 6 or 7. So just seal a tier 1. The only thing that goes up tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 is the damage, the throwing damage. We don't care about that. We just want the minus mana cost. So you want mana regen or strength, throwing attack speed, block chance if you can swing it, and then try and seal throwing damage and that sort of thing. For the idols, same thing. For the idols, same advice as before. Focus on defenses and then get one of these adorned Rye idols. Okay, did I go over the skills? I think I did. I know I had to go back and kind of refilm a little extra on each of those, but I think I've covered everything this time. All right, so let's move on to the final planner. Okay, and here we are. This is the final planner. Okay, so I'm going to be real. This is an okay thing, but this is kind of generic. All right, this goes all the way up to level 100. This is just generic, nice to have gear with good affixes in all the slots. But what you're going to really be wanting to go for is the in-game starter build planner that I put out a couple days ago. A link to that is in the description down below. All I go over is just the planners in that. All right, there's no gameplay. Well, there's a little bit of gameplay when I fight Aberoth currently, but like I said at the beginning of the video, when you're like, all the gameplay I can show you is what's currently in the game. I would like to be able to show you gameplay from season 2 in the new build of the game, and I can't do that yet. So that's the planner I would go for. But if you want to just, look for generic gear that is good, here we go. All right. So you're going for a Dragon Bone Axe because chance to apply bleed on hit is an implicit on this axe, and it's very good. Chance to bleed on hit is the exalted affix you want. And then after that, physical damage over time. There we go. Eternal Gauntlets is what you want. You're going to be looking for health or hybrid health on your gloves, as well as throwing attack speed, as well as strength. The reason why you want Eternal Gauntlets is that armor mitigation also applies to dot damage. Same thing for Champion Regalia, all right? You're going to be looking for strength, physical pin with bleed, health. You could also get chance to bleed, all right? There is an affix in the game. Let me show you. There is chance to bleed if wielding an axe. I think this is fine. You might even be able to seal one if you want, but if I had to choose between chance to bleed or physical pen, I would choose physical pen. Leonines, a lot of this gear you can't even equip until level 86 or 85, right? So that's why I put it in this more of an in-game planner. This would be a fine build, right? This is just a generic fine build, but like I said, what you really want is going to be in the in-game starter build. I call it a starter. It's basically, it's the Cadillac, right? I shot for the moon. I don't know how viable it is. Basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to play Bleed Hammered in season 2, and then about 2 weeks in, make a video showing you what I actually got, if that makes sense. So, Leonines, this is really great. You want the reduced bonus damage taken on critical strikes. There we go. Bleeding Heart, you want health, that sort of thing. Flayer's Pride, you get this from the Abomination boss. You can go back and farm it if you want. Honestly, the Majasa shield that's coming in season 2 is probably going to be absolutely busted, but Flayer's Pride's also a halfway decent shield as well. It's really good for bleed builds. Blood of the Exile, if you can slam it with some increased movement speed. Spider Silk Belt, if you can swing it for the cold and poison resistance. Let's talk about the skills real quick. By this point, we've respect. I'm showing you what it would look like if we, when we're not spec'd into this. like I said, this is probably going to be pretty good. You would want to probably take points out of rapid throw and put it into force of impact for a little bit more damage. But for the most part, this is the setup I'm most familiar with. Holy Aura, same thing. Use the slider bar. Abyssal Echoes, same thing. Use the slider bar. Smite. So we're proccing Smite with our idols. I put these idols here. We'll go over the idols, but I put these idols here just to show an example of what you might want to go for eventually. So let's go over the skills. So Smite. So what you're going to be looking for is Righteous Flurry. So whenever Smite has been procced, you don't have to directly cast it. Whenever it's been procced, you gain 20% attack and cast speed. You're going to also be wanting to take Sacrifice and Atonement. This is going to increase the damage of Smite a lot, and Smite's going to be another way to apply bleed on hit. It's very good for that. Absolutely very good for that. Symbols of Hope. Just follow the slider bar. Main things you're going to be looking for are Celestial Concentration and Sign of the Guardian, block chance per active symbol. Okay, let's go over the passive tree real quick. I have this one set up all the way to all 113 passive points. All right, all 113 passive points. So let's fully go through the tree, right? So here's your first 20, and then you're going to want to put points into Forge Guard, then Void Knight, and then you're going to be putting points into Paladin. I typically put 1 point into Blinding Light for the blind chance because it's a night. If you didn't know, blind got changed in cycle 1.1. The mechanic is if you get hit, if an enemy is blinded, they cannot critically strike you. So with that in mind, you have so many chances to apply hits with hammers. So just putting 1 point in here plus all your smites and everything, putting 1 point in here is really good to help blind enemies, because our only source of critical strike avoidance right now is the Leonines. This is going to give us a little bit more. Okay, we're going to be taking block chance, that sort of thing. At some point we go back, we grab an extra 5 points here. That way we can unlock Abyssal Echoes. And then we just keep going down the tree, right? We just keep going down the tree. And there we go. That is the bar. We've gone over the gear. Let's go over the idols real quick. I should also go over the blessings. These are what I think would be best in slot for your blessings right here. You could go for some lightning resistance, but you don't really need it. So I say just go for the mana. And then for the idols, we got the chance to cast Smite on hit and block effectiveness. These idols look different than the other idols I showed. The reason why, I'm not sure how the crafting system is going to work for the idols. I know they said you can craft on them unlimited times until you can get what you want. So I figured, let me just show you what I would take. We don't know how feasible this is going to be to put these exact affixes on there. But I decided to shoot for the moon, right? Shoot for the moon. All right, guys, that is all of the planners. Let's go ahead and show you the playlist that will be attached to this video. All right, here we go. This is the playlist that will be attached to the video. All right, the number one video you're going to want to be looking for is this one right here. Number 6. Ignite Hammers Paladin leveling runs. All right, so let me go ahead and we're going to go ahead and mute that. We're going to go into full screen. So here's the intro. I got timestamps where everything starts. All right, so my face is on screen, but right now my current face is blocking my old face, if that makes sense. All right, so we got the leveling runs. It's cool, you know, just kind of follow this around, just kind of click ahead. I don't have it exactly timestamped to each notable moment. There's just so much, just, you know, put it on 2x speed or just kind of click around. That's what I like to do. That's what I would recommend. You'll see I've unlocked my skill specialization right here, so I'll be able to spec. This is cycle 1.1 gameplay. I have already said it a bunch of times, you're gonna want, like, I won't be able to show you season 2 gameplay until season 2, and I wanted to get this out there ahead of season 2 for you guys, just so you can go with it. As you can see right here, we're just trying to put whatever. We're trying to put whatever here in our gear. Same thing. You're just gonna be going around. Your bar will be full, right? You'll be using like unspec'd lunge, whatever, just trying to get through it. Just going around. Let's go ahead. I want to show you a couple key notable moments. All right, so here we are speccing. So at this point, we're level 8, so we've unlocked our specialization slot, but we haven't unlocked, we haven't spent, here, right around here. Oh, I already, oh no, I just lost it, didn't I? Here we go, here we go, here we go. So I haven't spent enough points yet. I'm trying to see at what point you need to spend points. Okay, cool. You need to be able to spend points in your sentinel tree to unlock the unlock shield rush. All right, so you might be high enough level, but once you've spent the points, then you'll unlock it. I think at what point do I get it? Let's look at this. Looks like I already did it. Okay, yeah, I just switched it right here. Boom, there we go. So shield rush is unlocked. Clicking ahead. I'm trying to show you the old guy, right? I'm trying to show, oh, I think we went too far ahead. I'm trying to show you the old guy here. Reach lower. Okay. There's a cut there for sure. There's definitely a cut there. So here is the old guy, right? Here's the old guy that you're looking for. You'll meet him automatically when you're just leveling through the campaign. He'll be here. He'll be like, help me. And then you're going to just go ahead. Okay, so this is not the old guy I'm talking about, right? This is not the old guy I'm talking about. This is Gaspar. What you're going to do is you're going to talk to him right here. Elder Ezra. You're going to do his side quests. You're going to finish his side quest for him, and then he will give you avarice. That is an important leveling piece right there. So I just wanted to show you guys here in the gameplay. But yeah, just ultimately just kind of click around for whatever you're looking for. If you want to play this all the way through, by all means, go for it. All right, let's wrap out the video. All right, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, there's a loot filter in the description down below, and if you need a few tips on how I do my loot filters, there is a separate guide attached to that. Just go ahead and click on that, and I explain how I do my loot filters and my thought process behind all of it. I hope all of this helps, and thank you so much for everything you guys have been doing. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know this video feels a little rushed. The thing is, I work full time, and I only took Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off because that's what I can do. That's all I was able to do. So I'm trying to get this content out there for you guys. Thank you for being patient. You have all been very lovely. I really appreciate the feedback, right? You guys have been very nice with your critiques. All right. Nobody's been like, hey, listen here, idiot. Everybody's been like, I would like it if you do that. And you know what? That's absolutely fine. You guys told me in the last video you wish there was more gameplay. I brought you more gameplay. And if there's anything else that's missing out of this video, probably except me just rushing along at 1,000,000 miles an hour, then go ahead, drop it in the comments down below. But I just wanted to try and get this information into your guys' hands. With all that being said, thank you so much for being here. Possibly leave a like, possibly subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. You take care.